Welcome to the C-Suite at the Open. I'm Burke Suman, Head of Company Services based in Calgary. Joining us today is John Arbuthnot, co-founder and CEO at Delta 9 Cannabis in Winnipeg. John, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start by telling our audience about Delta 9.
Yeah, absolutely. So Delta 9 is one of the older cannabis companies in Canada. We were founded in 2012, became the fourth licensed commercial cultivator of medical cannabis back in 2013. Really, the early years of the company were quite modest as a small, privately held licensed producer of medical cannabis. 2017 became the real growth year for us. We raised about $10 million throughout the year, listed our shares on the Toronto Venture Exchange in November 2017. Since that time, we've raised a little over $80 million through a mix of debt and equity to fund our expansion. We now consider ourselves one of the few vertically integrated and diversified cannabis companies, licensed for cultivation, processing, extraction, wholesale distribution across 4 provinces currently in Canada. We're also a licensed retailer, currently operating 4 cannabis retail stores with plans to open up to 24 stores over the next 24 months. And as well, we have what we call our business-to-business segment. So sales of our proprietary growing platform, providing consulting and licensing services to other cannabis companies, and selling cannabis genetics. So really, I think one of the unique opportunities for investors to see exposure to all of those diversified elements within the cannabis space. Our company shares now trade on the main board, Toronto Stock Exchange, under the symbol DM.
So you talked about cultivation. The way you produce your cannabis is super unique relative to your peers. Can you tell us more about your process?
Yeah, so what really makes us different on the cultivation side is how we grow. Instead of the, call it big open warehouse or greenhouse or outdoor models that we see, we grow in small compartmentalized areas that we call grow pods. Now, effectively, they're retrofitted shipping containers. We take a standard 40-foot high cube shipping container. We install customized wall panels, electrical, lighting, HVAC, and security systems. And what we're left with are units that are modular, scalable, and stackable within our warehouse facilities. Now, we feel there's a number of benefits to this type of growing platform. It gives us a very high level of control over the growing environment, really positioning for higher quality product. And as well, there's a risk mitigation function here, which as much as we try and treat this like a manufactured good, it is at the end of the day an agricultural product. Growing in these smaller areas allows us to compartmentalize our risk and limit exposure to spread of infestation or disease within our facilities.
Right, that's great. Shifting gears a bit, can you give us a high-level overview of your recent year-end results for 2019?
Yeah, absolutely. So mid-March this year, Delta 9 reported our Q4 and year-end financial results. Really a record year and a record quarter for the company. Company posted revenues of approximately $31 million for the year 2019. Very strong Q4 revenues of over $10.6 million for the fourth quarter. And really what we've looked to demonstrate for investors over 2019 is that the company is making a push towards profitability. So we've seen generally over 2019, quarter over quarter, improvements in top line revenue, contributing to profitability. In the fourth quarter, the company narrowed its adjusted EBITDA loss to only $89,000, down from over $800,000 in the previous quarter. And notably, the company posted its first operating profit in the fourth quarter 2019 of approximately $420,000, up from an operating loss of over $600,000 in the previous quarter. So I think the company, again, uniquely positioned as having achieved early profitability in the cannabis space.
Right. And how is revenue shaping up this quarter? And has this current pandemic, impacted your business?
Yeah, so I mean, to date, no material disruption to any of our business segments. We are still making wholesale shipments of cannabis across Canada. We are still delivering grow pods and undertaking consulting and licensing services, and our retail stores continue to operate. But, of course, through this health crisis, a number of different precautions and preventative measures have been installed across our businesses, encouraging physical distancing, whether that be in our retail stores, encouraging customers to be 6 to 8 feet apart at all times within store, installing plexiglass screens, or simply increasing sanitation and hygiene protocols at our manufacturing facilities. Obviously, the health and safety of our customers and staff needs to be top of mind through this crisis, but we are very fortunate to be one of few businesses in Canada that has not seen a negative impact through this crisis.
And you've been supporting the frontline, I think, with health workers fighting the COVID-19 pandemic by donating gloves, which is a great initiative. Can you tell us a bit more about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, as a licensed Health Canada operator, obviously our production operations, proper personal protective wear, gloves, masks, et cetera, are kind of routine business for us here. So we've been able to tap into our supply chains where we can, make sure that we have an adequate supply. I mean, not only for our own business, but then being able to give back to our communities, providing masks and gloves to our hospitals here in Manitoba. So I think, very important for us to be giving back where we can. Again, as a company that has been allowed to continue to operate as an essential business, we want to do everything we can for frontline workers.
That's a great initiative. And finally, to wrap it up, I couldn't help but notice your valuation. Typically the market cap to revenue of Canadian cannabis producers are about 5 to 10 times. I see Delta 9 is trading around 1 times revenue. So I'm just wondering why the disconnect.
Yeah, so market cap of the company right now, around 40 million Canadian, I think, around 1.2, 1.3x trailing 12-month revenue, which, is certainly on the low end in terms of all of our peer comps. So, really, I think we've seen, the irrational exuberance, kind of the rise in a lot of cannabis stocks over the last few years. The last 12 months or so, we've seen that correction in cannabis stock valuations, and our stock has trended down, I think, with the market in spite of some very positive financial results. So, it's our general sense that as the market starts to correct here back into positive territory, cannabis industry investors will start to focus on names that are producing very positive financial results. And I think that really positions us as one of the names that could see a very positive lift in our share price as things start to move back in the right direction for our sector.
Excellent. John, best of luck to you. Thank you very much for being here with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.